What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Draft Report. In today's video, we will be talking about Georgia tight end Brock Bowers and where he should be selected in the upcoming draft. So let's get into it. So before we get into the film breakdown, I just want to run through his stats real quick and compare him to others. So these are his stats from the last 2 years combined. So in receptions compared to Jatavion Sanders, Cade Stover, and Jaheim Bell, he leads in all of the three main stats, and then even in the advanced stats, clearly leads, blows everyone out in yards per route run, and then yards after catch per reception. He's close with Jaheim Bell, but still leads in that category. So overall, at least for this draft class, he is far and away the best. And then we compare him to the last three tight ends to be drafted in the top 10 in the NFL draft, which is very rare for the tight end position. So these guys are freaks as well. But Kyle Pitts, Eric Ebron, TJ Hawkinson, he leads in everything except touchdowns. Pitts did have more touchdowns, but Bowers had more receptions, yards per out run, yards after catch per reception than all of them. We don't have that data for Ebron, but I'm pretty sure Bowers would still lead even if we did. Statistically, just one of the best tight ends, maybe the best tight end to ever play the position in college. He won the Mackey Award twice, which is given to the nation's best tight end. No one else has ever won it twice. And then he was named All-American this year, three-time All-SEC, helped his team to 2 national championships. I mean, the list, it just goes on and on. Truly one of the best players at the position in college. So I just wanted to get that out of the way before we get to the film. So let's get into it. Bowers is pretty undersized for the tight end position, standing 6'4" and weighing 240 pounds. That puts him in the 38th percentile for height and 6th for weight. But what he lacks in mass, he more than makes up for with athleticism. So we'll see here his straight line speed is elite. Here he is out of the tight end spot, just completely burning to the second level. I think defenses just aren't really aware of this. Like this safety here against a normal tight end doesn't have to get over as quick, but against Bowers, he just gets upfield so fast, most likely running like the mid 4.4s at the combine, able to catch it through contact as we see here. Like just look at how fast he moves in a straight line, just gets upfield so quickly for a tight end. He might break the tight end record for 40 time. It's just unbelievable. Here's another play that shows that elite speed. Here he's lined up in tight end again. He's going to run a little wheel route, and he just is able to run away from the defense. Ball's a little behind him, so he can't go all the way. But just look at how much ground he's making up on these linebackers. Most tight ends cannot just run away from linebackers this easily, but Bowers has such elite speed that he can really threaten downfield and be a downfield threat like most tight ends aren't. I mean, just look at how easily he glides upfield, picking up yards, and is able to make the catch. Bowers is also a great route runner and shows good burst out of his breaks. Here's a good play that shows that. He's lined up inside leverage from the corner and just breaks it outside easily. We'll see from the other angle how well he sets up this route. So you can see he's driving this upfield. This corner flips his hips like he thinks it's an in-breaker because Bowers sells it upfield with his shoulders. Look where he's facing. He's facing upfield. He does a good job selling it. And then at the stem, he doesn't really give it away. He's just going to keep going upfield and then just sharp break out of that. Not many tight ends can beat man coverage like this, but Bowers is very good at route running. Here's another good example of Bowers' route running ability. So this time he's lined up in the slot and he's going to be running an in route about 10 yards downfield. And as we can see here, about 5 yards into the route, the defender is going to try to contact him and get hands on him to throw off his route. Bowers does a good job quickly avoiding this, swiping his hands, not letting his defender take control of his route. And now his defender is on his backside, and he does a great job just sharply cutting, turning this directly sideways, even though Beck puts it behind him. We watch this again in full speed. See, tries to contact him. Great sharp cut. Not many guys who are 240 can bend and burst out of their breaks like this, but he's just excellent as a route runner and can beat man coverage in many ways. Bowers is also excellent catching through contact. This play illustrates that well. He's lined up in the slot here, one-on-one man coverage, and his defender is going to try to contact him. He does a good job using that to get upfield and gain leverage on the defender. We can see, break down this route, a lot of tight ends get thrown off by this contact, but he does a good job avoiding it and just using that to get his defender onto his back hip, and then he's going to use that elite speed to burst and break away. But then Bennett throws it up to his back shoulder, so he has to go up and get it, and he makes an amazing catch. We can see the catch a little better from this angle. We see he does a good job. It's on his back shoulder. Does a good job showing late hands. Doesn't allow this defender to know he's going to get it. And now he's going to go up, high points it well, and then strong hands through the contact, pulls it all the way to the ground with his defender all over him. Just an amazing catch. Even in non-jump ball situations, Bowers displays excellent hands. This play shows that well. Ball's out in front of him. He just goes out and stabs it with one hand. Here's another play from that same game. He has inside leverage on the receiver, ball's thrown behind him, so he has to go out with one hand, able to pull it in. While Bowers is great before the catch and at the catch point, I think he's at his best with the ball in his hands after the catch. This play is a good example. He's running a little wheel route. He gets the ball, and then at the 30 gets contact, breaks a tackle, and then is just dragging defenders all the way up the field. You can see that elite contact balance that he has with his dense frame, and he's just able to break tackles so easily because of his quickness, his agility, and his size. Later in that same game, he shows that ability again. Lined up in the slot, is going to find the open spot in the zone, and then breaks a tackle and shows that breakaway speed, getting all the way to the house. Georgia commonly used him as a runner on end arounds or handoffs. He had 20 rushes for 200 yards and 5 touchdowns in his career. Here you see he gets a little pitch and then uses that speed to get the edge, break a tackle, and then pick up a good 5-6 yards. Bowers is the complete package when it comes to a receiving threat, but he does struggle as a blocker a little bit. Here's a good example of that. He's just a little late off the ball, late hands, and then longer defender is able to get his hands on first and then just rip away. Here's another one from that same game. He does a good job, good hand placement, good pad level, but he's just too small and gets annihilated, giving up his gap. Most of his problems do stem from just his size, as he's a pretty good technical blocker, but his size limitations are just too much to overcome, and he's just not that strong of a blocker overall. This play's a good block from Bowers. He's lined up as the left side tight end over here. He does a good job off the ball, coming off not too wide of hands, gets handed on first, good hand placement, good pad level, and then is able to drive his defender upfield, clearing a gap for his back. We watch this again. Gets hands on first, and then controls the block as it gets downfield against a bigger defender. He is very good blocking at the second level, as we'll see here. When he's able to just use his technique and his mass isn't as big of a problem, he's very good at just controlling defenders downfield. As we see here, he does a good job coming in, not too wide of hands, gets contact on first. You can see he has a pretty strong punch, getting his defender back already, and then he pushes him about 10 yards downfield, just completely controlling the play. So overall, Bowers is an elite tight end prospect. As a receiver, he does a great job running routes using his outstanding athleticism to not only threaten the field vertically, but also underneath. He has sharp breaks. He has a good understanding of the route tree, good job selling his routes upfield, and he can break super quickly with great flexibility that most guys his size don't have, so he can beat man coverage, but he also does a good job settling down against zone and catching through contact. And then at the catch point downfield, he's amazing, great body control, and then can get up vertically and dunk on someone. It's amazing. He could be a little more aggressive in attacking the ball downfield. I'd like to see that a little bit more, but some of that just comes from his mass. He's not going to be a Gronk that can just catch everything because he's bigger than everyone else, but he is pretty good at the catch point. And then with the ball in his hands, he is amazing as well. His contact balance, his ability to juke people out, and then he pairs that all with breakaway speed. And he's really a threat to take any pass to the house once he has it in his hands. He can be used on handoffs and end arounds and really just opens up the offense for everyone around him because defenses have to draw so much attention to him, and you can't really single guard him because if you put a corner on him, they're too weak and he can just outbody them, and then if you put a linebacker on him, he's way too fast. He can just beat him vertically, so you have to devote multiple people to him, and he opens up the offense so much because if two people are trying to guard him, then that means someone else is open. So I think he's just an all-around offensive threat. The one area where he struggles is as a blocker. It's not really any fault of his own. His technique is pretty good. He plays with good pad level and hand positioning most of the time, but he just lacks a lot of length, so guys can get contact first super easily and then just control the rep. And then he also lacks a lot of mass. So going up against bigger guys, he could play with great technique, but it doesn't really matter because they can just outmuscle him. But I don't really think that's going to be his role in the NFL. And if teams try to use him as like a true end line blocker, they're misusing him. He should be an offensive weapon, put him at fullback, put him at slot receiver, line him up at tight end, line him up outside. I mean, he can play everywhere on offense and just be an all-around threat, kind of like Deebo Samuel in a way. Just get the ball in his hands as much as you can, and I think an offense is really going to be happy with the results. So overall, he is a 7.54 on my, or sorry, 7.42 on my overall scale. That makes him a perennial all-pro talent and a guy that I think will pretty quickly be a top 5, top 3 level tight end in the league and can make any offense better day one. Player comparison is George Kittle, an undersized but elite athleticism guy that can go up and catch a ball but also beat you with his speed after the catch. So that's going to wrap up the video. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.